The world was silent, not the silence of peace, but the silence after destruction. The war had ended, yet the scars remained. Cities were dust, skies burned red, and the air smelled of iron. Deep below the ruins, in an old military bunker, a man opened his eyes. His name was Daniel. He was tired, hungry, and alone. For days he had counted the sound of dripping water on the bunker's cold floor. For days he had listened to the buzzing of the broken lights above his head. Food was gone, water almost gone too. He had survived longer than he thought possible. But now the end was near. Daniel pushed himself up from the concrete floor. His throat was dry, his head heavy. He checked the metal box where he'd kept his supplies. Only crumbs remained. The bunker was not safe, but it was the only place left to hide from the machines outside. Machines that still hunted, even though the war was finished. As he sat in the dark, Daniel heard something, a faint sound, not the usual dripping water. It was a scrape, metal against stone, slow, careful, as if someone or something was trying not to be heard. Daniel froze. His heart beat louder than the sound itself. Was it a machine patrol? Had they finally found him? The sound came again, closer this time. He reached for the rusted pipe he had kept as a weapon. His hand shook, but he gripped it tight. He looked toward the far corner of the bunker where shadows moved. Then, he heard something unexpected. A voice, soft, trembling, almost like a song, not in his language, not in any language he knew. Yet it was a voice, not a machine's hum. Daniel's eyes widened. He stepped back, pressing against the wall. The voice stopped, and for a moment, silence returned. Then he saw it. A figure, small, moving out of the shadows. It was shaped like a girl, but not human. Her skin was pale, glowing faintly in the dark. Her eyes shone blue, brighter than the bunker lights. Her hair floated lightly. As if touched by invisible wind, Daniel almost dropped his pipe. He could not believe what he was seeing. An alien here in the same bunker. She looked weak, tired, but her gaze was sharp. She raised her hand slowly, as if to show she carried no weapon. Her lips moved and broken English escaped. "I help. You safe?" Daniel did not trust her. Why would he? Aliens had come when the war began. Some said they helped. Others said they destroyed. He did not know which side this girl belonged to. He stepped forward, raising the pipe. "Stay back." His voice cracked with fear, but the girl only tilted her head. She took something from her small bag, a round object that glowed faintly. She placed it on the ground and pushed it toward him. Daniel looked down. It was food. At least it looked like food, small, white, and glowing. His stomach twisted with hunger. Could he risk it? The girl sat down slowly on the floor, keeping her eyes on him. She did not move closer. She simply waited, as if telling him the choice was his. Daniel bent down. He picked up the glowing capsule. It was warm in his hand. He hesitated, then put it to his mouth. The taste was strange, but it filled him with sudden energy. His dry throat eased. His empty stomach calmed. He stared at the girl again. She was watching him closely. For the first time in days, he felt something new. Not fear, not despair, but hope. The bunker lights flickered again. The girl's glowing eyes reflected the light. Daniel whispered to himself, "Who are you?" The girl touched her chest. "Aria," she said, slowly, carefully. Her voice was soft but clear. Daniel did not lower his pipe, but something inside him shifted. This was not a machine. This was not an enemy soldier. This was someone else, someone different. But the silence did not last. From above, heavy thuds echoed through the ceiling. Dust fell from the cracks, the sound of metal feet. Machines were moving above the bunker. Daniel and Aria both looked up. They knew what it meant. The hunt had come closer, and now survival would depend not on one, but on both. Daniel stood frozen, the pipe still in his hand, his body shaking from both fear and hunger. The girl Aria sat on the cold floor of the bunker, her glowing eyes fixed on him. She had given him food, strange alien food, yet it had saved him. He should have felt safe. But he did not. His mind raced with questions. Why was she here in this bunker, under a broken earth? And why did she help him? Arya tilted her head. Her thin fingers traced the dust on the ground. She looked small, fragile, almost human, but her skin glowed faintly, a light from within. Her hair shimmered like threads of silver, moving even when the air was still. She did not act like a soldier, nor like a spy. Her voice was soft, broken, uncertain, human. "Daniel," she whispered slowly, as if testing a word on her tongue. Daniel's breath caught. How did she know his name? He gripped the pipe tighter. "Who told you my name?" he demanded, his voice harsh in the silent bunker. Arya blinked, confusion on her face. Her words came broken, heavy. "Hear you, dream, calling name Daniel." Daniel. Her accent was strange, every syllable stretched and soft. Daniel realized with a chill that she had been here longer than he thought, listening, watching, while he slept. The thought made him uneasy. Still, she had not attacked. She had not called the machines. Instead, she sat waiting, as if patience was her shield. Daniel lowered the pipe slightly, but did not drop it. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Arya's eyes glowed brighter. She pressed a small device on her wrist. A blue light shimmered between them like a thin veil. Then images appeared, floating in the air. Daniel gasped. The images showed Earth before the war, green forests, shining cities, oceans alive with color. Then the pictures shifted. Fire, explosions, skies filled with ships, both human and alien. At last, only ruins remained. The final image was of him, Daniel, trapped in the bunker, alone, his face pale, his eyes full of despair. He stumbled back. How do you have this?" he asked. Arya looked down, her voice almost a whisper. "I watch. I sent here, to observe." Daniel felt anger rising inside him. So she was a spy, sent to study humans, maybe even to guide the machines that hunted them. But her face looked sad, almost guilty. Her small hands shook as she closed the device. "No war," she whispered. "I not soldier, not enemy. I help." Daniel's stomach twisted. He wanted to believe her. Her voice carried truth. But his heart carried doubt. For months, trust had been dangerous. Trust had killed his friends. Trust had destroyed cities. Could he trust her? A stranger, an alien, yet she had given him food. She had shown him pictures of a world long gone, and in her glowing eyes he saw not hatred, but something else, loneliness. The silence broke again. Far above, heavy thuds echoed, machines scanning the ruins. Arya tensed, her ears twitching at sounds Daniel could barely hear. She leaned closer, whispering, "They come." Her voice was sharp now, not soft. She stood quickly and held out her hand. "Move. Fast." Daniel hesitated. His instincts screamed to stay, to hide alone. But something in her urgency forced his decision. He grabbed his small bag and followed her. Arya moved with strange grace. Her feet barely touching the ground, she led him deeper into the bunker, through a narrow passage Daniel had never noticed. It was hidden behind a fallen metal door. How had she found it? The tunnel was dark, dripping with cold water. Daniel's breath echoed, but Arya moved silently. She carried a faint orb of light in her hand, glowing soft and blue. Her skin reflected the glow, making her look like a living lantern. Daniel felt both fear and wonder. He whispered, "Where are you taking me?" She looked back, her voice urgent but calm. "Safe place. Hide from machines." They reached a small chamber. It was empty except for broken crates and dust. Arya touched the wall, and suddenly a panel slid open. Inside was a hidden room filled with supplies, strange alien tools, glowing capsules of food, and silver blankets. Daniel stared in shock. "How long have you been here?" he asked. Arya lowered her gaze. "Long. Before war end, long. I stay, I watch, I wait." Daniel's hands trembled. She had survived all this time too. She was not just a stranger, she was like him. Trapped, alone, fighting to live, and though she was alien, there was something human in the way she looked at him, a shared pain, a shared need. She sat down, pushing a blanket toward him. "You rest," she said. "I watch now." Daniel sat slowly. He felt the warmth of the alien blanket, light as air. His eyes grew heavy, but his mind was alive. He wanted to question her more. Why was she here? What did she want? But exhaustion pulled him down. As he drifted toward sleep, one thought echoed in his head. This girl, this alien might be the only reason he was still alive, and maybe, just maybe, he needed her as much as she seemed to need him. Daniel woke to the faint hum of the bunker walls. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then he saw her, Arya, sitting near the doorway, her glowing eyes watching the darkness beyond. She had not moved for hours. Her small frame was still, like a statue made of pale light, yet her sharp gaze showed she was awake, alert. She had kept her promise. She had watched while he slept. Daniel sat up slowly. His body was weak but warmer than before. The strange silver blanket wrapped around him had given him rest he had not felt in weeks. He rubbed his eyes and whispered, "Why? Why are you helping me?" Arya turned her head, her expression unreadable. She took a small food capsule from her bag and placed it beside him. "Eat," she said, her voice soft, broken but steady. Daniel stared at the capsule. He wanted to ask again, but his hunger was stronger than his pride. He swallowed the strange food, feeling energy rush back into his body. For a long while, there was only silence between them. Arya traced the bunker wall with her fingers, as if she could hear its memories. Daniel studied her quietly, her glowing skin, her soft movements, the way she tilted her head when listening. She looked so different. Yet something about her reminded him of people he once knew. Her eyes were alien, yes, but her sadness was human. Finally, Daniel spoke again. "You knew my name, you watched me. You have food and tech I don't understand. Why not leave me here? Why not save yourself?" Arya looked down, her silver hair falling over her face. When she spoke, her voice trembled. "Alone. Long time, I search human, but only find you." Her eyes lifted to his, glowing brighter in the dim light. "You live, Daniel, you fight. Not give up. I help because I not want alone anymore." The word struck Daniel deeper than he expected. Loneliness. It was the same reason. He had clung to survival even when hope was gone. Not for victory, not for revenge, but because he could not accept dying as the last voice in the dark. He lowered the pipe he still carried, resting it against the wall. For the first time, he allowed himself to look at her not as a threat, but as a companion. Still, doubt remained. Daniel crossed his arms. "If you're not enemy, then tell me. What are you really? Why are you here, Arya?" Her lips pressed together. She hesitated, then placed her hand on the small device at her wrist. Light shimmered again. This time it showed a star map. Galaxies spinning in endless black. She pointed to one cluster glowing with golden fire. "My home," she said. "Far, far away." Daniel leaned closer. The map looked alive. Her world seemed beautiful, full of light and color. "Why leave it?" he asked, his voice quieter now. Arya's hand trembled as she touched the map again. Her words were slow, broken, but filled with weight. "Sent here, before war, mission to study, to learn humans. I was not soldier, not destroyer. I was watcher." Daniel's jaw tightened. So she had been sent to observe humanity, to watch as Earth bled and burned. Anger sparked in his chest. "You watched while cities died, while families burned. You watched while my people were hunted." His voice rose, echoing in the chamber. Arya flinched, her eyes dimming. She whispered, "Yes, I watched. But I cry too." Her voice cracked. For the first time, Daniel saw tears, shimmering like liquid light on her cheeks. "I was not allowed to act, not allowed to change, only to record, only to report. But I saw, I felt, and I broke rule. I stayed. I hide, I help now." She pressed her hand against her chest. "Because human pain became my pain. Daniel's anger faded, replaced by confusion. Her trembling voice carried truth. If she had wanted to betray him, she already could have. Instead, she was here. Sharing food, sharing warmth, risking herself. He looked away, ashamed of his outburst. "You should have left. It's not your war," he muttered. Arya shook her head. Her broken English carried surprising strength. "No. Now it is, because I choose." The silence that followed was heavy, but it was not the silence of distrust. It was the silence of something fragile, something new, trust. Daniel finally sighed. He sat down closer to her, still keeping some distance, but not as far as before. "All right, Arya, if you want to help, then we survive together. But you keep no more secrets from me." Arya nodded quickly, relief flashing across her glowing eyes. "No secrets," she said, though Daniel noticed the hesitation in her tone, a hesitation that told him not all truths had been spoken yet. For now, it was enough. Two lonely souls, one human and one alien, bound by survival, bound by a fragile trust. Outside, the machines moved in the ruins above, unaware that deep below, an unlikely alliance had begun, and in that fragile bond, hope flickered once more. Asterisk. The silence of the hidden chamber did not last. Daniel and Arya sat in the dim light, their uneasy trust holding them together. But above their heads, the sound returned. Heavy metallic thuds, slow and deliberate. The machines were searching again. Each step rattled dust from the ceiling. Each vibration shook the floor beneath them. Daniel tensed, gripping the rusted pipe at his side. His heartbeat quickened, echoing in his ears. Arya's glowing eyes narrowed, her head tilted as if she could hear more than he could. "They close," she whispered, her voice low. Her hands moved quickly over the strange device on her wrist. Symbols glowed, lines of alien script flickering in blue light. Daniel leaned closer, whispering, "What is it?" Arya shook her head. "Detector, it show where machine move." A small hologram appeared above her wrist, tiny red dots shifting. Across a map of tunnels, one dot was close, far too close. Daniel's throat tightened. "They found the passage," he said. Arya's expression hardened. She stood, pulling him toward the narrow tunnel they had come from. "No stay, we move." The sound of grinding metal echoed through the halls. A sharp, piercing whine filled the air. The machines were scanning, searching with sensors that could smell heat, hear breath. Daniel's palms grew slick with sweat as he followed Arya through the damp tunnel. Every shadow looked alive. Every drip of water sounded like footsteps. They reached a corner. Arya raised her hand, signaling silence. Daniel froze, holding his breath. From the other side of the wall came the sound of gears turning. The machine was here, just beyond the thin concrete barrier. A faint red glow seeped through the cracks. Daniel's grip tightened on the pipe, his muscles stiff. If the machine broke through, he would fight. But he knew a pipe was nothing against steel. Arya touched his arm gently, her glowing fingers cold against his skin. Her whisper was calm but firm. "Not fight, hide, trust me." She pressed her device against the wall. A shimmer spread, like water rippling across stone. Suddenly, the concrete glowed faintly, then dimmed. The red light from the cracks faded. Daniel's eyes widened. "What did you do?" he whispered. Arya looked at him with a faint smile. "Blind them, for a moment only." The thudding steps passed. The red glow moved away. Daniel let out a shaky breath. But the relief did not last. The detector on Arya's wrist blinked faster. More red dots appeared. Not one, not two, but 5. They searched deeper. "No human alive here," Arya said. Her voice was sharp, no longer soft. "They not stop until they find." Daniel clenched his jaw. "How long until they break in?" Arya's glowing eyes flicked to him. "Hours. Maybe less. We must leave bunker soon." Daniel shook his head, panic rising. "Leave? Outside is worse. Out there is death." Arya stepped closer, her gaze steady. "Inside also death. Trapped is no choice. We move or die." The words struck hard. Daniel wanted to argue, But he knew she was right. He had hidden for too long, survived in shadows. But shadows no longer kept him safe. The machines were learning, hunting with sharper senses. He looked at Arya. Her pale face lit by her glowing eyes. Her small body tense and ready. She was not just surviving, she was planning, something he had forgotten how to do. Before he could reply, the ceiling above cracked. Dust rained down, chunks of stone falling. To the floor, a metallic arm punched through the concrete, claws scraping the wall. The machine had found them. Its red sensor burned through the darkness. A cold, inhuman voice echoed through the chamber. Life form detected. Eliminate. Daniels. Heart stopped. The machine forced itself through the hole, its body a mix of wires, armor, and sharp limbs. It was twice his size, its steel frame hissing with steam. Daniel raised his pipe, but his hands shook. This was no fight he could win. Arya stepped forward. Her small frame glowing brighter, her hand raised toward the machine. The device on her wrist flared with light. A wave of blue energy pulsed outward. The machine staggered, its limbs jerking, its red eye flickering. Daniel's jaw dropped. She was holding it back, but her face twisted in pain, sweat forming on her pale skin, her voice strained. Go. Run now. Daniel hesitated. He wanted to leave, but his legs refused. He could not leave her, not after everything. With a roar, he swung the pipe, smashing it against the machine's red sensor. The blow cracked the lens, sparks flying. The machine shrieked in a metallic howl, stumbling back. Arya released another pulse of blue light, sending it crashing against the wall. Smoke hissed from its frame, but it was not destroyed, only stunned. Arya grabbed Daniel's arm, her grip surprisingly strong. Now move, she gasped. Together they ran through the tunnel, behind them. The machine's limbs scraped the floor as it dragged itself back up. Its broken voice echoed through the halls. Targets escaping, deploy reinforcements. Daniel's chest burned. His lungs screamed for air, but he kept running. The tunnels twisted endlessly, each corner darker than the last. Arya's glowing light guided him, the only beacon in the crushing dark. Finally, they burst into another chamber. This one larger, filled with rusted machines and old weapons. Daniel collapsed against a wall. Gasping, Arya shut her wrist device. Her glowing eyes dim with exhaustion. She looked at him, her voice weak but steady. Now you see. Bunker is not safe. Danger inside grows stronger. If we stay, we both die. Daniel stared at her, his chest still heaving. He knew she was right. But the thought of leaving the bunker, of facing the ruined world above, filled him with dread. Yet there was no choice now. The machines were coming, and for the first time, he was not facing them alone. Asterisk. The chamber echoed with Daniel's heavy breaths. His body shook from running, his arms ached from holding the pipe. Dust still fell from the ceiling where the machine had broken through. Arya stood in front of him, her glowing eyes dim but focused. She looked weaker than before, her shoulders trembling from the energy she had used. Yet even in her weakness, there was strength in the way she stood. She had faced the machine with her bare hands, and somehow she had survived. Daniel stared at her. His mind swirled with questions. What are you? He whispered. Arya's glowing eyes flicked to him. For a moment, silence hung heavy between them. Then she turned away, moving deeper into the chamber. Her fingers brushed over the walls, until she found a cracked metal door. She pushed it open with surprising strength. Behind it was another room, but this one was different. Inside were strange objects, devices that glowed faintly, alien crates stacked neatly, and tools Daniel could not name. The room looked like a hidden base, not just a hiding place. Daniel followed slowly, his voice low but sharp. You've been hiding this from me. Arya did not answer at first. She touched one of the glowing devices, and a faint hum filled the room. Soft light spread, revealing markings on the wall's symbols not human. Flowing and curved, Daniel realized with a shiver. This was not part of the bunker. This was her space, built long before he found her. Finally, Arya spoke. her words broken but heavy with meaning. Yes. I hide because secret dangerous, if you know, maybe fear, maybe hate me. Daniel stepped closer, his fists clenched. I already fear, I already doubt. But I need truth, Arya. No more half words, no more shadows. What are you really? Her glowing eyes met his, full of sorrow. I not only watch her, she whispered. Her hands trembled as she touched her chest. Inside me. Human too, Daniel froze, his mind refusing to understand. What do you mean, human? He asked. Arya's voice cracked. My people. They take human child long ago. Mix with us, change, experiment. I am part human, part alien, not belong fully to either. Daniel's breath caught. Half human, half alien. It sounded impossible, yet her words explained what he had felt all along. Her sadness, her kindness, the way she spoke his language even. In fragments, she was not completely alien. She carried pieces of humanity inside her. Daniel's chest tightened. Why would they do that? He asked. Arya lowered her gaze. Because war coming. They want weapon. They want bridge. But I run. I not want destroy. I want live. Her words shook Daniel to his core. All this time he had seen her as a stranger, but now he realized she was closer to him than he ever imagined. Not enemy, not spy, but someone trapped between two worlds. He stepped back, leaning against the wall. His voice was low. So you helped me. Not only because I was human, but because part of you is human too. Arya nodded slowly, tears shimmering in her glowing eyes. Yes, Daniel, you are not last because part of me is you. For the first time, Daniel felt his anger fade. He still feared her, still doubted, but now he understood. Her loneliness was not only for herself, it was for the human part inside her that never belonged anywhere. She had found him. And in him she had found the piece of herself she had been missing. The silence broke with a sharp beeping sound. Arya's wrist device flashed red. She gasped, her glowing eyes widening. Machines. Coming fast, they lock on us. Daniel pushed away from the wall, his fear returning. How do they know where we are? Arya hesitated, her hands shaking. They hunt me too, because of what I am. Not only you in danger, Daniel, I also target. The truth hit him like a blow. She was not only his ally, she was also hunted. The machines did not only seek humans. They sought her, the half-human girl who carried secrets they feared. Daniel gritted his teeth. So both of us are prey, he muttered. Arya's voice was firm. Yes, but together we fight stronger. She reached into one of the alien crates and pulled out a small device. It shimmered like glass, glowing faint blue. She pressed it into Daniel's hand. Use, if cornered, she said. Daniel stared at the object. What does it do? Arya's voice lowered. It protect, but cost heavy, only use when no choice. Daniel's hand trembled as he held it. He did not understand, but he trusted her enough to take it. For the first time, trust felt real, not forced. He looked at her, her pale face glowing. In the soft light, she was fragile, but inside her was strength he could not deny. He finally whispered, Arya, whatever happens, we face it together. Her glowing eyes softened. Yes, together, she said. The walls shook again, far away. Metallic voices echoed through the tunnels. Search, locate, eliminate. The hunt was closing in. Daniel tightened his grip on the strange device. Arya stood tall beside him, her glowing body casting long shadows across the walls. Her secret was no longer hidden. She was half human, half alien. And now Daniel realized her fate was tied to his. If she survived, he might survive too. And if she fell, so would he. Asterisk. The walls of the bunker trembled again. A low rumble spread through the ground as if the earth itself was warning them. Dust rained from cracks in the ceiling, falling into Daniel's hair and eyes. Arya's wrist device flashed red, faster and louder than before. The machines were moving in, closing the circle. There was no more time to hide. Daniel pushed himself to his feet, his hand gripping the strange blue device Arya had given him. His voice was sharp, filled with fear, but also determination. "If we stay here, we die," he said. Arya nodded, her glowing eyes serious. "Yes, we leave now, but..." "Way out." "Dangerous." She moved quickly to the far wall, pressing her palm against the cold concrete. A hidden panel slid open with a metallic hiss, revealing a dark passage behind it. Daniel stared at it. "You've had an exit this whole time," he said. Arya shook her head. "No safe before. Tunnel full of defense, full of death. But now, no choice." The tunnel stretched ahead, narrow and endless. Cold air flowed out, smelling of rust and old machines. Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. "What kind of defenses?" he asked. Arya's voice was low. "Old human weapons, mixed with machine patrol, traps built to keep intruders out. Now they turn against us too." Daniel's grip tightened on the glowing device. He looked at her, his voice low. "And if we don't make it?" Arya's glowing eyes met his. "Then we end together, but we try." The two stepped into the tunnel. The air was damp, walls lined with wires and broken lights. Each step echoed. Too loud, Daniel's nerves burned with every sound. Behind them, faint thuds of machines grew stronger. "The hunt was close," he whispered. "They're following." Arya nodded, her pale face glowing in the dim blue light of her orb. "Yes. They push us forward, want us cornered." They reached the first chamber. The floor was covered with metal plates, old but still humming with power. Arya raised her hand, stopping Daniel. "Do not step wrong. Plates sense weight. Trigger fire." Daniel looked down at the deadly floor. One wrong move and they would both be burned alive. Arya stepped carefully, her movements light and graceful. She moved across the plates like she had walked this path before. Daniel followed, his boots heavier, his breath loud in his ears. Every step felt like death waiting to strike. Sweat dripped down his back as he matched her steps. Halfway across, a plate clicked under his foot. A spark lit the air. Flames shot up around him, heat searing his skin. He froze, panic rising. Arya spun, her glowing hands pressing her wrist device. A wave of blue light pulsed out. The fire dimmed, the plates reset. She grabbed his arm and pulled him forward, her voice sharp. "Careful, Daniel, no mistake again." They finally reached the far side. Daniel collapsed against the wall, his chest heaving. Arya looked pale, sweat shining on her glowing skin. She had used her strength again to save him. He whispered, "You could have left me, but you didn't." Her eyes softened. "Together, remember." Before Daniel could answer, a new sound filled the tunnel. The metallic clank of limbs scraping against steel. A patrol drone dropped from the ceiling, its red sensor locking on them. It screeched, its voice cold. "Intruders detected. Eliminate." Daniel raised the pipe, but Arya stepped in front of him. Her glowing body flared. She unleashed another pulse of blue light. The drone froze, shaking violently. Daniel swung his pipe, smashing its sensor. Sparks burst. The drone crashed to the floor, but more echoes followed from the dark. More drones were coming. "Run!" Arya gasped. They sprinted down the tunnel, the air filled with red lights and mechanical howls. Daniel's lungs burned, but adrenaline pushed him forward. He could hear the machines closing in. Each step brought them closer to the end, or closer to death. Finally, they reached a massive steel door. Arya pressed her hands against it, her voice trembling. "This last door leads outside." Daniel's heart pounded. "Open it fast," he said. But the door groaned. Locked tight, Arya's device glowed, her body shuddering with effort. The lock cracked slowly. Painfully behind them, the machines. Voices echoed closer. "Targets trapped. Eliminate." Daniel gripped the blue device she had given him. "What if they reach us before you open it?" he asked. Arya looked at him, her glowing eyes fierce. "Then you use that, even if it mean end better than capture." The words chilled him. This device was not just protection. It was a weapon strong enough to end everything. He swallowed hard, his hand trembling. Could he use it, if the time came? The door finally cracked open, light spilling through, cold air rushed in, carrying the scent of the outside world, ruined, but free. Arya gasped, her strength fading. Daniel caught her as she stumbled. "Stay with me," he whispered. She nodded weakly. The machines howled, their red lights flooding the tunnel. Daniel pushed through the door, pulling Arya with him. For the first time in months, he stepped into the open air. The ruined sky stretched above, red and endless. The machines screamed behind them, but the doors slammed shut, sealing them out. Daniel fell to his knees, gasping at the open world. Arya leaned against him, her glowing body dim but alive. Her voice was faint but steady. "We made it, Daniel, but outside is only harder." The door slammed shut behind them. The echo rolled across the broken land. For the first time in months, Daniel stood beneath the open sky. He staggered forward, pulling Arya with him. The air was sharp cold, filled with dust, and the faint smell of burned metal. Above them, the sky glowed a deep red. Clouds torn apart like scars of war. The world was dead, yet wide, and for Daniel, the openness was both freedom and terror. Arya leaned heavily against his shoulder. Her glowing skin dimmed, her strength nearly gone. Daniel looked at her pale face, his voice rough. "You're hurt." Arya shook her head weakly. "Just tired. Used much energy, need rest." Daniel tightened his grip on her arm. "No resting now, they're still coming." Behind them, the steel door shook violently. The machines pounded against it, their metallic howls carrying through the cracks. The sound made Daniel's stomach twist. "They'll break through soon," he muttered. Arya nodded, her glowing eyes faint but alert. "Yes, they never stop. We must move." The ground stretched endlessly before them. Broken highways split the earth. Rusted cars half buried in sand. Skeletons of towers clawed at the red sky, their glass long shattered. It was a graveyard of a world, silent except for the wind. Daniel's chest ached as he looked across the ruins. He whispered, "Is this all that's left?" Arya's gaze followed his, her voice soft. "Not all. There is more, but far away." Daniel's jaw tightened. He wanted to ask what she meant, but the ground shook. A metallic screech split the air. From the ruins behind them, machines burst into the open. Tall, spider-like forms with glowing red sensors and sharp steel limbs. Drones hovered above, their wings cutting the air with buzzing screams. The hunt was no longer hidden. It was here, out in the open. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears. He pulled Arya forward. "Run," he said, his voice breaking. They sprinted across the broken ground, stumbling over cracked stone and twisted steel. Arya's light guided them, faint but enough to see, behind. The machines crawled fast, claws ripping into concrete. Drones screeching in the sky, their voices thundered in unison. Targets located, eliminate. Daniel's lungs burned, but he did not stop. He dragged Arya forward. Each step a battle. The ruined highway split into two paths. One led into a shattered city, the other into a field of twisted metal spikes. Daniel froze unsure. Arya pulled his arm weakly, pointing toward the city. "There, shadows. Cover, we hide." Daniel nodded, his throat dry. He sprinted into the ruins, weaving through broken towers. Every corner echoed with the sound of their footsteps. Every shadow felt alive. They reached the shell of an old building. Daniel pushed Arya inside, hiding behind fallen walls. The machines swarmed outside, their red lights scanning the ruins. Daniel held his breath, gripping the glowing device she had given him. If they were found, this would be their last stand. Arya leaned against the wall, her glowing eyes dimming further. Her voice cracked. "Daniel, listen. You hold device. It powerful, if no escape. Use. It will protect you, but cost my life." Daniel's eyes widened. "What? No. I won't use it if it kills you." Arya touched his hand, her trembling fingers cold, but gentle. "You must live. Human must live, even if I end." Daniel's chest tightened, rage and fear colliding inside him. "No, not again. I lost everyone." I won't lose you too. His voice shook, but his grip on her hand was firm. If we die together. If we live together. Arya's glowing eyes softened, shimmering with tears. For the first time she smiled. Faint and fragile. Together, she whispered. The machines swarmed closer, their voices echoing. Scan complete. Life forms detected. Red lights pierced the ruins, cutting across the walls. Daniel raised the device, his hands trembling. The machines closed in, crawling through the rubble, their claws scraping stone. The moment stretched like eternity. Then, Arya stepped forward, her body glowing brighter than ever before. Her voice was steady now, clear despite the broken words. Daniel, trust me. Not all lost, you are not last. Before Daniel could speak, she raised her hand. Her light exploded outward. Blinding blue, the machines screeched, staggering back as their sensors cracked. Daniel shielded his eyes. When the light faded, the machines had stopped, their bodies frozen like statues. Arya collapsed to her knees, gasping. Her glow flickered like a dying flame. Daniel caught her. Before she fell, Arya, stay with me, please, he whispered. Her voice was faint, weaker than ever. Daniel, listen, others, like you, not gone. Far away, hidden, I show. If I live, Daniel's heart pounded. The words struck him harder than any machine. He was not the last. There were others. Hope flickered in his chest, fragile but real. He held her close, his eyes burning. You will live, we'll find them together. I promise. Arya's eyes closed, but her lips curved in a faint smile. The machines stood frozen around them. Silent, the ruined city was quiet again, above. The red sky burned with distant thunder. Daniel tightened his grip on her. For the first time since the war began, he felt something he thought was gone forever. Not just survival, not just fear, but purpose. The war had ended the world, but the fight for humanity was not over, and Daniel was no longer alone.